My name's Johnny Ringo. That's my nickname. Real name's Johnny Scharnweber. I was monikered Johnny Ringo when the movie Tombstone came out. Been a financial wealth coach for about 20 years, as well as a off-road motorcycle coach. Kind of a way of life, coaching and helping others is what my life's been about. I had spent a couple of months at Loma Linda. Basically, the first 2 months I just laid in bed and atrophied. The last couple of days that I was there, I asked the doctor for a prognosis. And he said, yeah, I guess I should have talked to you about this earlier, but I don't see you getting out of that wheelchair. I don't see you walking ever. One of the deepest moments in my life, but I had some really good friends there. And they know who I am. They said, don't listen to him. I'm at Loma Linda. We're running out of insurance. We're running out of rehab, etc. And they're saying, well, you got to be looking at going home. We're going to a skilled nursing care facility. Steve called me up. He told me about Casa Colina, which I'd never heard of.
And Johnny had made a phone call to Casa Colina. I believe it was late on a Friday night. So we got on the phone with our director of admissions, Jennifer Podeska, myself, and Dr. Laverso, and sort of went through what was happening, what was going on.
I told everybody on the phone call what the doctor at Loma Linda had told me. Dr. Laverso, he said, this conversation's over. You're coming here.
Shortly thereafter, we admitted him to Casa Colina's acute rehabilitation unit. Almost immediately, I could see there would be a good outcome based on my initial clinical examination that, this is somebody who has a lot of hope for returning to function.
I came here on a Friday, and 1 week later, and my therapist comes in and said, we're gonna walk today.
I remember the first time we stood up together. He's about 3 times my size, so I had to stand on a big mat behind him to help support him to get his shoulders back, to get him up tall.
They had me up in the RGO machine, straps around my legs, to help and support my shoulders. But it took my first steps.
I think that's what's so great about working with Johnny, that he's very motivated, so as a therapist, it kind of just pushes me to kind of match him.
You just got a sense that just failure was not an option for him. So seeing that he could do more than he thought he could do was really important.
I really saw that and thought that right away that he'd benefit from what the continuum of care Casa Colina has to offer. And
when patients come to me, they're pretty much medically stable. In the inpatient setting, they have 3 hours of therapy, and it's pretty structured in the hospital setting.
I think the fact that we do have a full continuum of care here at Casa Colina is really critical. I know I've been able to see patients all the way from our med-surg service onto rehab to TLC to outpatient. And having some knowledge of what has transpired from those early days onto outpatient is really important for us to see as clinicians, to understand, what has this person's rate of recovery been, right? How fast are they getting better? That's important to the overall plan so that we know how to move forward.
With Johnny, he was pretty far away from being able to do a lot of the functional tasks, feeding, dressing, grooming, bathing. A lot of it was finding what equipments he needed, but on top of that, we were doing more preparatory work to get him to be strong enough to do all those activities.
I was so elated with the amount of therapy I was doing, 3 hours a day now, and in the gym and all kinds of stuff.
When they're ready, they move on to TLC, and TLC is definitely more vigorous with more therapy time, about 5 to 6 hours.
It's a program that transitions you from sitting one-on-one with a therapist and doing your goals to real practical rehabilitation.
I think the Transitional Living Center is unique to Casa Colina. The activities that we do in therapy, we incorporate that into the community.
So things like going out on community outings, like a scavenger hunt at Target.
Problem solving, how to open the doors of a store that they want to get into.
Learning to recook a meal.
Figuring out how they're going to sign the little credit card tablet.
So you're working on money management, you're working on completion of a task. So you can see that that's more real life.
The best part about going home was Casa Colina had prepared me for that at the Transitional Living Center.
At this point, Johnny's self-sustaining. He's intermittently getting therapy, but mostly doing it on his own.
Johnny, he's always looking at the step ahead. It's like, hey, how do I get there? What do I need to do to be independent again?
His whole nature is just persevering and not giving up.
He really just takes every opportunity and he tries to maximize it.
I developed a school for enduro and desert racers to help them get over big obstacles. When you're out in the desert or in the woods, come across a tree or something that looks impassable. And it's just a lot of fun watching them develop. They'll look at the track, they'll look at obstacles and say, there's no way I could do that. By the end of the day, they're doing almost everything. So it's just a great feeling to see the success and the accomplishments that they're doing. I've actually made it a mission in the riding community that every time a rider goes down, I reach out to them or I reach out to someone who knows them and introduce them to Casa Colina.
Having Steve Graver pull us over and get us into Casa Colina just accelerated his progress beyond anything we could have imagined. We're going to be telling the world about this place. Anyone we can see who might need recovery, this is where they're going.